Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the Hasbro Fortnite Victory Royale series. This is the first assortment. I got all four of the basic figures. Hasbro is just starting their Fortnite line. They're doing 6-inch figures. They're doing a replacement of the Jazwares Legendary Series line. Really hoping these guys will fit in scale and style-wise and feel like a continuation of that line. Fingers crossed. That is definitely something we'll be checking out in this video. We'll also compare them with some McFarlane Fortnite figures. Hasbro being this big company, I feel like they saw the success of Fortnite figures and they just snatched it up from Jazwares. I don't really like how it went down, although I don't really know either. So looking at these figures, they each come with a pickaxe, a back bling, and a gun. Already starting off with fewer accessories than Jazwares, so minus a point there. Then the packaging, I don't really like it. I mean, it looks fine, but you can barely see what you're getting. You can only see a small glimpse of the figure. You can't see any of the accessories. I can only imagine some people buying these figures, taking the accessories and returning them. Walmart or whatever will never know. So, minus a point for the packaging. Still going to this with a completely good attitude, really hoping they fit in as a direct continuation from the Jazwares line. We'll know here shortly. So let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see, this is Chaos Agent, Fortnite Victory Royale series by Epic Games and Hasbro. Little barcode, ages 8+. Here's the package. Little window. All you can see is a part of the figure. It does show you we're getting inside 3 accessories. The top, got a little hook. It says Fortnite. One side, not much else. Just this character sort of wrapping around. At the back, doesn't even have a checklist for the rest of the figures. Just shows him and his accessories. And then at the bottom, got a bunch of credits, and here is Chaos Agent's barcode, in case that helps anybody. Next we have Ripley. I always like that skin. He's like made of slurp juice or something. Pretty cool. Backside simply shows him. I really do wish they would have a checklist of the rest of the wave. And then here's Ripley's barcode for what it's worth. Now we have Midas Rex. His accessories, him on the back, and here's his barcode. And finally we have Lynx. You can barely see her in there. Got the accessories, her backside, and her barcode. So no further ado, let's open these guys up. Alright, now that we got these figures out of the package, here they are with all their accessories laid out. Each of the figures comes with a gun, a pickaxe, and a back bling. When I was opening Midas Rex, he didn't seem to come with a gun, and I was kind of like, how can you have a Fortnite figure without a gun? He had a pickaxe, back bling, and an alternate head with the helmet on. But yes, he does have 2 pistols. They're removable, and they're in his holsters right now. So I'm not going to lie, I kind of have some preconceived notions going into this line. I really enjoyed the Jazwares Legendary Collection. They made a ton of skins and had a ton of accessories. It was all customizable and interchangeable. I didn't really like the fact that Hasbro sort of snatched a line from Jazwares. At least that's how it appeared to me. So I'm going to this a little bit negative, but so far I'm pleased with what I'm seeing. The figures, they look like they're going to scale up great with the Jazwares line, and we will check that out a little bit later. Look at Chaos Agent, a suited figure. His legs are so thin, which I don't like, but that's how the Jazwares figures were. So it should be a pretty smooth transition. These guys have the plastic on them. It just feels a little bit better than the Jazwares figures. And also they don't have those articulated fingers. So there's some things I'm noticing that I'm really liking off the get-go. The attention to detail is nice. I'm really enjoying that Ripley figure. I have almost all of these skins. So that's another home run for me. So far so good from Hasbro. In this video, we're going to take a look at each of the figures individually. We'll check out their accessories, height, and articulation, and we'll compare them all with a bunch of other Jazwares and McFarlane Fortnite figures. So, let's start off with Chaos Agent. So here's Chaos Agent. Chaos Agent comes with the Chaos Sith harvesting tool, the Ooze chamber back bling, and a submachine gun. I'm a sucker for suited bodies, even though these figures are a little bit smaller than what I'd like. Really enjoying getting this guy. Chaos Agent was first available to be purchased in the item shop for 1,500 V-Bucks in Chapter 2 Season 1, and has popped in and out ever since then. So let's take a look at him. He's in this black suit. He's got sort of gas mask type thing on. You could use two different options in the game. You'd have him like this. You could also have him goopy with the mask off. He's sort of like falling apart inside of there. Tubes connect to the back. Black suit, red tie. Looks like double jointed elbows. Double jointed knees. Super thin legs. But it's pretty consistent with how some of those skins look. Overall, he looks pretty cool. One really unique thing about him, he only has 3 fingers, and that is accurate to the game. Here's a closer look at his head and face. I was a little bit surprised that this guy didn't come with a second head to emulate the 2 different styles. It looks pretty cool, sort of gas mask, the tubes coming around. Details pretty nice on this guy. Now let's take a look at his accessories, and let's start off with his back bling. His back bling is called the Ooze Chamber. As you can see, it's got these knobs and sort of readers for pressure at the top there. As it goes further down, it's got a little vent at the bottom. Looks pretty cool. It's got a peg on the back that'll connect to the figure via the peg hole on the back side of the figure. Here's Chaos Agent wearing his back bling. Can't really tell from the front, but if you spin him around. In the game, the back blings are customizable and interchangeable. In the game, you pick your skin, then you pick a back bling, you pick a pickaxe and a glider, you make your own combination. One cool thing about these back blings, they're customizable and interchangeable with the figures, just like in the game. Here are all 4 of the different Hasbro Fortnite figures wearing each other's back blings. And I was very curious and hopeful if the back blings for the Jazwares figures would work with the Hasbro figures. Back when McFarlane and Jazwares were both making Fortnite figures, their back blings were not interchangeable, and that was definitely disappointing. So if you were to take this new Hasbro figure and a Jazwares back bling, unfortunately, their peg is far too thick and just will not work. And in turn, if you were to take a Jazwares figure and the Hasbro back bling, the peg is just so thin, sure it'll fit, but it's going to fall right back out. And you know, that was the exact same problem the McFarlane and Jazwares had, the different thickness. So I thought, maybe the McFarlane back blings will work with these Hasbro figures. So I take this Hasbro figure, take a McFarlane back bling, try to put it inside. Doesn't exactly fit, but you know, if you kind of really shove it, it's very, very close. They are almost the same size. This one's just a little bit too thick. And in turn, taking the McFarlane figure, Hasbro back bling, it fits, but it's going to fall out. Not as loose as with the Jazwares, but still doesn't work. So we have 3 different companies that are not interchangeable, and that's very disappointing, as it would add so much if you could interchange them. Now let's look at his harvesting tool, or more commonly referred to as a pickaxe. This is called the Chaos Scythe. It's sort of made of black goo dripping at the top. You can see it's got some silver, some black, a couple different areas for it to hold on to. Not bad. Here he is, holding his pickaxe. No articulated fingers, much easier to get in and out of his hands. Holds it totally sturdy. Chaos Agent walking by, I wonder what that noise is behind the wall. Tries to chop his way through and find out. So he found out what was making all that noise. There was a chest behind the wall. Not only does he get the chest, but he gains a brick along the way. It looks like in this chest, he's got a med kit, some boogie bombs, and a submachine gun. Here are all the different Hasbro figures holding each other's pickaxes. Just like the back blings, they're customizable and interchangeable between the different figures. That is fantastic. And I'm happy to report that they are customizable and interchangeable with the Jazwares pickaxes. And they are also interchangeable with the McFarlane Fortnite figures pickaxes. Very happy to report that. Now let's look at his gun. This appears to be a regular submachine gun from the game. The detailing is actually pretty nice. Sculpting has some black, some silver, some red, some green. Nice little variety there. Here's the Hasbro SMG on the top, next to the Jazwares submachine gun on the bottom. Jazwares had this habit of making some of their accessories ridiculously oversized for their figures. They would even be too big for the McFarlane figures. I'll definitely say the Hasbro submachine gun looks better than the Jazwares version. Here he is, holding his gun. He can hold it with 2 hands. He has a trigger finger that fits into the trigger area nicely, and his other hand can support the barrel. Here are all 4 of the Hasbro figures holding each other's weapons. Nice to know that can work as well. And the Jazwares and Hasbro figures' weapons are interchangeable, no problem. Here are a couple of Jazwares figures holding some Hasbro weapons, and a couple of Hasbro figures holding the Jazwares weapons. It also works very well with the McFarlane and Hasbro figures. Here's some McFarlane figures holding the Hasbro weapons, and some Hasbro figures holding some McFarlane weapons. When it comes to the Jazwares, Hasbro, and McFarlane figures, their weapons are completely interchangeable. Their trigger figures even fit into the triggers on the corresponding weapons. Very nice to report that. Now they're taking a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories. Now let's check out his height. From bottom to the top, standing at about 6.3 inches tall, which is going to translate to about 16 centimeters. Now let's look at his articulation. Starting with his head here, of course, it can rotate from side to side. Only going to be able to go about this far till sort of wires or tubes are completely maxed out. Can look up about that far, down about that far. Not too bad. Can't really tilt his head from one side to the other, at least can't hold it that way. Shoulders, ball joint, goes up about 90 degrees. Up, down, around, all that good stuff. He's got bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbows. And then go completely in. Then his wrist here can rotate around, and it is hinged as well. Then his torso here, I believe it to be some kind of a ball joint down here, can rotate around, go forward and back a little bit. His legs, pretty much can do the splits, got a ball joint in there. Go forward, about that far, back, not too much. Thigh cut, double jointed knees, go all the way back. And his ankle here goes forward and back a little bit. Can tilt and rock, and it can rotate at the top here. Pretty nicely done. Now let's look at Ripley. Ripley appears to be made of slurp juice or something like that. He comes with a sledgehammer harvesting tool, the containment pack back bling, and he has a pump shotgun, and it seems to have sort of a slurp wrap around it. Ripley possesses skin that you could earn as a reward from the Battle Pass if you hit level 20 during the Chapter 2 Season 1 Battle Pass. He's a little bit larger than some of the other Fortnite figures from Hasbro I have so far, and I like the fact that there's some wide variety of shapes and sizes. That's how it is in the game. Some of the skins you don't want to use because they're super bright and super big and easier to hit. So let's take a look at him. He's in this semi-transparent plastic suit. He's just some sort of drops that slurp juice in there with eyes. It's a very odd figure from a very odd game. Almost like it's a containment suit here. It's sort of liquid inside of there. I've always found the skin very bizarre. His outfit, kind of like overalls. You see the straps up top. Black outfit, got pouches around there. He's got ab crunch, double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. Very bizarre, very cool choice. It's one of my favorite skins out there, at least in the top 10. And here's the figure broken down as far as he can go. His dome is removable. You can pose his head. And just a closer look at the figure's head. It's just a few different drops inside there. Very, very odd. Kind of like a smiling. Now let's look at his accessories. Let's start off with his helmet. Upon first glance, I didn't realize this helmet would be removable. It's a great touch. It allows you to look at his head up close, and as well as pose it from side to side. It simply pops off very easily, transparent. Then you have his head here. It can turn from one side to the other. Very nice. Now let's look at his back bling. It's called the containment pack. It's got sort of a canister down there, presumably holding some slurp type stuff. It'll of course attach with a peg to his back. Now I'm not going to go through the same process I went through with the first figure. We all know that the back blings are not interchangeable between any of the three brands, but the guns and pickaxes are. Here's Ripley wearing his back bling. Now let's look at his pickaxe. This is called the Sludge Hammer. Pretty much it looks like it's completely made of liquid. Doesn't quite do justice the way it looks in the game. Pretty much an entire pickaxe made of slurp juice. And here's Ripley holding his pickaxe. Now let's look at his shotgun. This is a pump shotgun, and it has the wrap that sort of matches his skin. It's a slurp wrap. You can see the shotgun is transparent except for the pump, a little bit on top of the barrel and the base there. This is presumably a Chapter 2 pump. Here's his Hasbro pump shotgun on the bottom. next to 3 different variations of the Jazwares pump shotgun at the top. The very top one is the Chapter 1 pump. Below that is another Chapter 1 pump, but this one came with the weapons accessory pack. It actually has a functioning pump. And the third one there is Jazwares' version of the Chapter 2 pump, the same as the bottom one, just with a different wrap. Here's Ripley holding the pump shotgun. It only really makes sense for him to hold it with 2 hands, 1 hand on the trigger, and 1 hand on the pump. Now let's check out this guy's height. From bottom to the top of his helmet, standing at about 6.75 inches tall, which is going to translate to about 17 centimeters. And if you go to that little tip, that sort of hair at the top of his helmet, about 6.9 inches tall. Now let's check out his articulation. I went ahead and took off his helmet so I could show off his head articulation as well. Starting off with his head, or if you even call it that, it can rotate around from side to side, can look up and down about that much, can even tilt a little bit from side to side. Shoulders on a ball joint goes out a little bit less than 90 degrees, up, down, around, all that good stuff. He's got bicep cut below that, double jointed elbows below that. Then his wrist here can rotate, and it doesn't appear to be hinged, or it's hinged, but I don't get much out of it. His torso here, he's got a traditional ab crunch. Waist swivel, or rather ball joint here, can rotate around, also go forward and back. Legs go about this far, not too impressive. Ball joint, go forward, about that far. Back, pretty much not at all. It's got a thigh cut below that. Double jointed knees below that. Then it's got a boot cut above his foot. His ankle goes forward and back. Can tilt and rock, no problem. I seem to have missed the fact that Ripley here has a butterfly joint. See his shoulders, they kind of go in and out. Now let's take a look at Midas Rex. This is an armored version of Midas. He comes with the Kingmaker harvesting tool, the Midas crest back bling, an alternate head with the helmet on. Then he has 2 revolvers that are removable from his holsters. So Midas Rex was first available in the item shop for $30 in November of 2020. He came in a bundle that would get you Joker, Poison Ivy, and the armored Midas Rex. I personally have this bundle. I got it for Joker and Poison Ivy, but I think it's pretty cool I have the skin, and now I have the figure. So let's take a look at him. Good old Midas here. He's got that pale skin, hair parted on the top of the side. Looks pretty good. Got that scar going down his face. Big armored body, the golden armor, got shoulder pads, armor all here. Looks like a ball joint in his torso and his waist. He's got some wires or cords going in there, and you can use his elbows. It pops right out. It's not just going to break when you stretch it out. Double jointed elbows, double jointed knees, 2 holsterable pistols on either side. That's very cool. Overall, not a bad looking guy. I think it's been really cool to compare him with the Jazwares Midas figure. And then, just a closer look at his face and head. The hair looks just like Midas from the game, as does his face and scar. I think they did a great job on the sculpt here. And then, here's the figure broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's take a look at his accessories, and let's start off with his head and helmet. He comes with 2 alternate heads. One is the Midas head exposed, and one has his armored helmet on. Here's his first head. This is the unmasked Midas head. And here's his second head. This is his armored head. Looks pretty odd. Looks like it has some kind of breathing apparatus. And then look at the eyes. One is sort of shut, and one is wide open. Now let's look at his back bling. This is called the Midas crest. Notice it's gold at the top, then it has this cape floating down, a little bit tattered at the bottom, got a hole in it, and then it's got the peg, which will attach into the peg hole on his back. Here's Midas wearing his back bling. Now let's look at his pickaxe. This is called the Kingmaker. Essentially it looks like a sword. Nice amount of sculpting detail on the handle, and the blade has 2 different points. Looks pretty sharp, no pun intended. Here's Midas holding his pickaxe. Now we have his guns. He comes with 2 small revolvers. Sculpting not too bad, pretty ordinary gun, a little bit of detail on the handle and on the chamber here. Here's Midas holding his pistols. And here's Midas holstering his pistols. You can see he's got a functioning holster on both sides. And now that we've taken a pretty good look at Rex, now let's check out his height. Bottom to the top of his head, about 6.6 inches tall, which can translate to a hair under 17 centimeters. Now let's look at his articulation. Starting with his head, of course, it can rotate from side to side. It can look up about that far, down about that far. He does have articulation at the base of the head, top of the neck, as well as the bottom of the neck. Looks like two sort of ball joints there. Very impressive range of motion. Shoulders, ball joint goes up about 90 degrees. Up, down, around, all the good stuff. His shoulder pad does kind of move out of the way, not obstructing it very much. He's got bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbows. They go all the way in. You don't need to worry about this thing breaking. It comes out and pegs right back in. His wrists can rotate, and they're going to be hinged as well. He's got ball joint in his torso. Rotate around, go forward and back. Another one in his waist. Rotate around, forward and back, giving him a very impressive range of motion in his torso, more than you would need with such an armored suit. His legs, complete just splits, ball joint, they go forward about that much, back, pretty much not at all. He's got thigh cut, double jointed knees, boot cut, then his ankles, then go forward, back, tilt and rock, absolutely no problem. Now let's look at Lynx. She's the first female figure from Hasbro in the Fortnite line, and she's with the first assortment. Jazwares made 30, 40 plus figures and only had 2 female figures, and female skins are a huge part of the game. My understanding is that Hasbro has a little bit more pull with retailers, being a much bigger company than Jazwares. Lynx here, she comes with the Stitches back bling, the scratch mark harvesting tool, and a compact submachine gun or SMG. Lynx was available in Chapter 1, Season 7 as part of the Battle Pass. She's sort of a cat-like skin, which is cool for a lot of reasons. I'm a huge Batman fan, so I like Catwoman figures, and this is pretty similar. I actually have the skin as I was playing at that time, and still am. Face looks pretty cool, got the cat ears, some thin eyes. Going further down, got some gray, black in the center, kind of striped in her forearm here. She's got an articulated tail, pretty nice little feature there. Looks like double jointed knees, double jointed elbows. So far I'm liking that. Little braid coming out from her hair. Pretty cool figure, pretty cool skin. And then just a closer look at her face and head. Now let's look at her accessories, and let's start off with her back bling. Her back bling is called Stitches. It looks like a little stuffed animal version of the Cuddle Team Leader in black. You see one eye messed up, like an old stuffed animal nicknamed Stitches. It's got the little peg that'll connect to the peg hole in her back. Here's Lynx, wearing her back bling. Now let's look at her pickaxe. This thing is called the Scratch Mark. And judging by the name, I'm assuming it's supposed to be like a cat's claw. It does kind of look like one of the cat's sort of fingernails there. Sculpted detail is not bad. Kind of have the different color where the nail would be. Then the handle also has a decent sculpt on it. And here's Lynx holding her pickaxe. Now let's look at her compact SMG or P90. This is a compressed submachine gun. Looks pretty cool. Got some green, little strap there, place to hold it. This is an epic or legendary submachine gun. Here's a Jazwares version of the compact SMG at the top, then the Hasbro version in the middle, pretty similarly sized, and then we have the ridiculously oversized McFarlane version at the bottom. I don't know where McFarlane went wrong with this one, but it is absolutely ridiculous when the figures are holding this thing. It looks way too big. Usually it's Jazwares line to do that. Here's Lynx holding the SMG. Her trigger figure fits into the trigger area nicely, and her other hand can hold the barrel. Now let's check out her height. From bottom to the top, standing at about 6.0 inches tall, which is going to translate to a hair above 15 centimeters. Now let's look at her articulation. Start with her head here. Of course, it can rotate from side to side, up and down about that far, pretty nicely. Just like Midas, she's got articulation at the top of the neck and the bottom of the neck. Shoulders on a ball joint, goes out a little bit more than 90 degrees. Shoulder pads move out of the way pretty nicely. Up, down, around, all that good stuff. Bicep cut. Double jointed elbows. Her wrists can rotate and looks like it's hinged as well. Ball joint her torso, rotate around, forward and back. Ball joint the waist as well, rotate around, forward and back. Legs, completely does the splits. Ball joints, forward that far, back about that much. She's got a thigh cut and it's hidden very nicely with the boot there. Double jointed knees. Then her ankle here can rock, can rotate, and go forward and back. Now let's check them out. Next to some other Fortnite accessories and vehicles from some existing companies you can use to enhance your Hasbro figures. Here they are, running on a couple of McFarlane quad crashers. Even though they're scaled a little bit large for them, it still works out pretty good. And here they are with the McFarlane shopping cart. Now let's check them out. Next to the McFarlane glider and launchpad combo sets. Here they are with them fully assembled. Here they are, getting ready to launch up into the sky and glide away. And even though Hasbro has a couple of their own gliders coming in the near future, I was really curious how they would work with the McFarlane gliders, and I think it came out very nicely. Here's an example of a couple of the figures on some McFarlane gliders. Here they are next to a chest. This chest was from Jazwares Fortnite line, and it was actually for these smaller 4-inch figures. You may ask yourself, how could it possibly be for the smaller 4-inch figures if it's too large for the 6-inch figures? Well, it wasn't meant to be in scale. It was sort of an accessory pack. You'd buy this chest, and it would contain some building material and guns inside. Since chests are such a huge part of the game, I was happy to have one that's remotely in scale for the figures. Here they are with a loot llama. Obviously this loot llama is not from McFarlane or Jazwares or Hasbro, it's simply just a stuffed animal. But that crazy pink llama has become sort of a staple to the game, and I was happy to have one that's sort of remotely appropriate for the figures. And here they are, using a bunch of different Jazwares Fortnite accessories. These scale up and work good with your Hasbro figures. Here they are, 2 pairs of duos in a battle royale. They're trying to sneak around the reboot van and get each other. Now let's check these guys out, next to some other action figures. Starting off with some other Fortnite figures. These are the only Hasbro Fortnite figures I have so far. There are a few other releases that are on their way right now, more of the deluxe figures. We're going to check them out next to some other Jazwares and McFarlane Fortnite figures, and then we're going to check them out next to some action figures from different various companies. Before we do that, we're going to check out each of these figures one by one with a couple of other relevant action figures. Here's Chaos Agent next to Wildcard, a comparable type Fortnite skin. Both are suited bodies. Notice how much taller Chaos Agent is. I'm happy this line is a little bit bigger than the Jazwares line. And here he is next to all the different suited Jazwares Fortnite figures. Then, next to some suited McFarlane Fortnite figures. Now when I think of Ripley, the first 2 things that come to mind is number 1, Ellen Ripley from Aliens, played by Sigourney Weaver, and then also Ripley's Believe It or Not. Well, look at this guy. You gotta see it to believe it. And here he is, next to some Ripley figures from each of the different 4 Alien films. Here's the armored up Midas Rex, next to the Jazwares version of Shadow Midas. And an up-close look at both their heads. Gotta say, Hasbro did a way better job on the head and face. Here's Midas Rex, next to a couple of other figures of the skins from his bundle. It was Joker, Midas Rex, and Poison Ivy. And of course, those skins had different styles and variations as well. Here's Lynx, next to a couple of Jazwares female figures. And here she is, with some McFarlane female Fortnite figures. And now, here's Lynx, next to some other cat-themed skins from the game. and there are plenty more. Then, next to a couple of 6-inch scale Catwoman figures. The one on the left is from Mattel, the one on the right is from Mcfarlane. Here they are, next to some recently released Jazwares Fortnite figures. They scale up decently enough with them, but they're definitely overall, I'd say, a little bit of a larger scale, and I personally like that, as Jazwares Fortnite figures was pretty much the smallest thing I collected. And here they are, next to the most recently released McFarlane Fortnite figures. I do believe that McFarlane is done making Fortnite figures. I hope I'm wrong, and Hasbro getting the license had nothing to do with that. McFarlane seemed to be getting tired of making Fortnite figures at least a full year ago. And as you can tell, these McFarlane figures are quite a bit larger than the Hasbro and Jazwares. They're the 7-inch scale, Hasbro and Jazwares are the 6-inch scale. Here they are, next to the entire collection of Jazwares Fortnite Legendary Series figures. There are still going to be a couple more releases before it's over, but it's pretty much at the end of its legs. And here they are with the entire collection of McFarlane Fortnite figures. Now let's check them out, next to some action figures from different various companies to see how they fit in both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix them with. Since they're Hasbro figures, they're typically the 6-inch scale, on the smaller end of what I collect. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the smaller action figure lines I collect and work my way larger. But we're going to start off by comparing them with some of their Hasbro brothers and sisters. Here they are, next to some Marvel Legends figures. Then, next to some Hasbro G.I. Joe classified figures. And here they are, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. And here, with some Mafex figures. Then, next to some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here they are, next to some Mezco 1/12 collective figures. And now, next to some Jazwares AEW wrestling figures. Then with some Mattel wrestling figures. And here, next to some NECA figures. Then, next to some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. And now, next to some McFarlane toys. And here they are, next to some DST or Diamond Select toys. And finally, next to some Jack-specific wrestling figures. So overall, these are some pretty good figures. I went into this line with some preconceived notions, almost not liking them before even handling them, and they have surpassed my expectations. They feel just a little bit better than the Jazwares figures. Their articulation is a little bit smoother. I love the fact that their fingers are not articulated. That really helps hold things. They feel very durable. They're a little bit taller than Jazwares, which I also like. My favorite of the bunch is going to be Ripley. He's just such a cool, crazy guy. And I love the fact their size differences, very similar to the game. Now their character selection is also very nice. I don't personally have the original Chaos Agent, but the current Fortnite crew is something like Chaos Agent Origins, and it looks very similar. I do have Ripley from the Battle Pass. I have Midas Rex because I bought the Joker and Poison Ivy pack, and coincidentally had him as well. And then I have Lynx. I also got her from the Battle Pass. So I think the skin selection is very good. There's some very popular skins. I give this line 2 thumbs up. Very pleased, and I can't wait to add more. Also, very happy they flow nice with the Jazwares line, almost like a continuation and a slight upgrade. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.